Fancy intro from Shane this week. We should be live, so very rarely do I host on the Shane page. If anyone's around, give me a shout and please let me know that you can hear what's going on. So a little behind the scenes, I owe Shane a show because a couple of weeks ago I was not here. I'm not here again or this week I'm not here because I am traveling. So I didn't want to get no show out, especially this week. So I've been lucky enough to grind the film basically all day. And we're gonna go solo. We're gonna fly solo, probably for about 30 minutes. Keep it short and sweet, he says, optimistically. And yeah, there's a lot of takes from this game, so I'm probably just gonna get straight into it. I'm hoping that you can see my film thread up in the background because I normally I don't stream by myself. Brother Clip's commenting. It's yeah, half a page. I was going to come up with some funky intro about how far away, but I didn't because I'm lazy and because I've literally spent the majority of the day and I'm meant to be packing. And it's nearly 9 o'clock in the UK and I've packed nothing for tomorrow. So it's all good fun. But anyway, what a weird game. So I watched this morning. So I didn't stay up because I've been a little bit unwell, and my son doesn't like sleeping at the moment. So I got up at 5 a.m. and watched this, and then basically after watching it for 3 hours or so this morning, then went and rewatched the offense and the defense. So I've watched every play twice today at least. So this game, and I'm recording a podcast on the same day. So this game is stuck in my mind. So for anyone out there who is listening, I'm hoping the way this will work is that you can see my screen. So I'm going to go through the offense first, and as always, I will show you some clips. So what a weird offensive game. Anyone out there live, if you can just put a little comment in the chat and let me know that I'm doing things correctly. I'm hoping you can see my screen here. So let's talk about the Eagles offense. I think you can break this game down into two halves. I thought first half, I was really optimistic about the Eagles offense. I think the running game was doing enough, and I think passing wise, Hurts was really, really on it. This play was really cool. So I think they used under center again. They went back to it more than they did last week. Normally, when you see under center play action, is what you get is the QB, especially in this situation, will boot out to the right, and then you get three routes, sort of like short, middle, and deep, flooding one side of the field. The Eagles look like that's going to happen here. Looks like Hurts going to roll out, but they don't. Indeed, AJ Brown runs across the formation, and Hurts hits him with a perfect deep strike, and it's always a good sign when your two top receivers have both wide open. I was feeling pretty optimistic about this, and I'm also going to give someone a very strange shout out. Grant Calcaterra here is one on the backside of Joey Bosa. You can argue probably not the best offensive design, but he does exceptionally well. So yeah, maybe run blocking not his strength, but I'll give him some due for hanging on in there. So I was feeling pretty good. As I said, I was feeling pretty good. The first touchdown came on the play I really like. It's hard to see from this angle, but six O line, Matt Pryor was out there, so this is heavy. Six offensive linemen, three tight ends, one back. Not a single receiver on this pitch. You expect a run play, and on 2nd and 1 as well, I expected a run play. The Eagles go under center, they go play action, fake it, hit, got it in the flat, and I was feeling pretty good, honestly. I think the Eagles did some good things early on. As I mentioned, Hurts throwing the ball really well. I'm going to come back to some of the negative runs. Obviously, conditions played a big part, and I don't want to. Sorry, Brother Clips commenting saying I didn't notice it was Calcaterra. I feel like it's not been mentioned much online because we've got to pick holes in players, and I'm critical of Calcaterra as much as anyone. But yeah, fair play to him there. Conditions made it really hard to be a receiver and I think be a QB. Hurts and AJ Brown just did it. They were playing like it was beautiful sunshine out there. Don't love the design here. Once again, Hurts I thought was excellent in the pocket in the first half, just making a really good outside of structure play. And him and AJ Brown were really, really cooking. This one was the most obvious pass interference I've ever seen. Once again, it's under center play action. They actually used motion effectively because AJ Brown comes across the field in motion. This time they do have the classic three routes to one side of the field, actually four routes, flooding zones. We've seen this a lot of late from the Eagles. It's better. They're flooding one side of the field. I'm not a QB mechanics, QB footwork guy, not my vibes, but look how good Hurts looks here. rolling to his left, stop, reset, ball, perfect. Velocity, perfect, catchable. Why AJ Brown isn't shaking his head and shouting at the refs on this play, I've got no idea, because it was absolutely pass interference. Um, and yeah, I came away just thinking, this is good. They had a few nice runs. Um, this one here from Saquon Barkley, they did this a few times in this game where they started from empty and motioned him back in. Really, really good read for the cutback there. And I felt really good, honestly. If you'd seen me sitting on my sofa at 6 a.m., I'm thinking life's good. The Eagles are looking good. But there was this nagging feeling at the back of my mind. The second drive of the game, what did the Eagles do on 3rd and 8? They ran with Will Shipley. And I felt, oh, is this going to be one of those games where, and I could put a big asterisk and say maybe it's weather related. So let's cross our fingers, Eagles fans, and hope this is a one-off thing because of the weather. I don't think it is. But they were really conservative. Like, considering how well I've just shown you Hurts is playing, this is 3rd and 8, 15 seconds left of the first half. I would like you to look at the top of the screen here. There are quite clearly 4 Bills defenders and there are 3 Eagles receivers. And they're going to just literally throw it to Dallas Goedert. I think if it's not bad enough, they get the whole play wrong. I think Jahan Dotson thinks he's getting the ball because he suddenly panics and then tries to block. This play has no chance of working. This is a give up play. And you see here confusion over there. To me, you may as well just accept you're not getting the first down. And I thought we were over this lack of, what do you call it? Cowardness, if you want to call it cowardness, lack of aggressiveness, conservatism, however you want to call it. I thought we were over it. And then the second half began, and it was like, it all came back. And I've had a lot of conversations down the line. I've even had a reply from Brett Coleman, and Brett does really good work. I don't agree with his take on this game. There's a few people I don't agree with their take on. I saw a few people tweet like one missed Hurts throw in the second half, seeing Hurts collapse, 0 out of 7. And I watched all 8 dropbacks, made lovely notes on my phone of all of them. There was one play, which I haven't recorded to be fair. There was one play where Hurts a slant flat. It was definitely press man coverage. He decided to throw it to AJ Brown because normally against press man, I'd go to AJ Brown as well on the slant. He wasn't open. He should have taken the flat. That was it. These were the other dropbacks that I saw. Under center play action, only 2 receivers available. Both of them were covered. Hurts throws it away. And I've actually got that play here. I think Barkley's actually meant to release as a check down option, but he just doesn't really get out. He gets stuck in traffic and is nowhere to be seen. So there are 2 receivers, both covered. Devontae Smith running a comeback into this, no chance, and Dallas got it running straight into this. So this is not on Hurts. That's throw out of bounds 1, nothing to do with him. Second play, he was under pressure, nothing was open, he had to roll away, threw the ball away again. Third play was a slant flat. Full throw, incompletion to Devontae Smith, where he got injured and they ruled it an incompletion. Nothing wrong with the throw. Little bit behind him, again, tough weather, tough catch, that stuff happens. 5th incompletion or 5th drop back, again, nothing open, has to throw the ball away. 6th drop back was when he was nearly a safety. He does a great job to avoid the safety. Again, nothing open. Slides, throws the ends up, doesn't throw the ball away, sorry, slides on that one. 7th drop back, nothing open, once again, under pressure, throws the ball away. And 8th drop back for a dime to Devontae Smith, which I have in the very last play of the thread. And Devontae Smith doesn't make the catch. Tough weather conditions, I'm not blaming Devontae here. I think it's actually a really good job by Hurts. Very clear, 2 high pre-snap, reads the safety rotation, knows where he goes versus single high. Devontae Smith catches that in better weather, I think 8 out of 10 times. So for those just aimlessly saying 0 out of 7 in the second half, it wasn't on Hurts. And if you don't believe me, go and get NFL Pro, watch the second half. It really, really was not on him as a QB. There was one miss, the rest of them I really didn't see anything he could have realistically done. The problem is all of the cool stuff I mentioned here, these under center play action plays with 2 crossing routes, the under center play action flood concept we saw earlier on, all of this stuff just went. They just didn't want to do it. They went ultra conservative. They went, we're trying not to lose the game, and they went, we've got 13 points. The Bills aren't going to score 14 in this weather, so we don't need to do anything. And you know what? They, I guess they were right. What can you say? The Eagles win. Um, but the way they win doesn't fill me with confidence. I don't think you can beat. I mean, how many of you watched the Bears 49ers yesterday? You're telling me you're going to beat Bears 49ers by scoring 13 points and letting the defense do what it does. These offenses are too good. You're not going to go up against a Ben Johnson or a Kyle Shanahan in the playoffs and keep them to under 15 points. I just don't. I don't see it being possible to really win that way. So, what went wrong in the second half? Well, it's very easy to blame the run game, which we're going to look at now. I thought the design of the run game was appalling. And whether it's Stoutland, whether it's Patullo, we don't hear from Stout. Obviously, we don't get to hear from him in season, so we can't ask him questions. Um, but some of these plays I'm going to show you, first half and second half, is brutal. And I see a lot of talk today about the interior offensive line, about Steen, Dickerson, Jurgens, and yeah, Cam Jurgens is not playing very well. Landon Dickerson's not playing very well. Steen's playing okay. It's so much more than just individual players. It's scheme, it's design, it's execution. This is in the first half when things are going relatively well. They're going to pull Cam Jurgens because he's basically free. He's not got a guy in front of him. Cam Jurgens and Fred Johnson block the exact same defender. Nobody, literally nobody, blocks the edge. Nobody blocks the off-ball linebacker, the Mike. In fact, no one's even responsible for him. It's not that anyone misses him. Like, maybe Dickerson's meant to get to him. Dickerson's here, and he's now got to get all the way across there. Never going to happen. There's two guys blocking one player. And it's a cornerback or a safety. No one's blocking the linebacker. These design issues come up time and time again. Another play here, watch defensive tackle 72. For those that are watching, if you're listening, you can check this out on the film thread. No one blocks him. Jurgens runs right past him, I think panics, and then tries to get back to him. But there's no way this is by design that Jurgens is meant to run past him. Dickerson, not good enough to get there. Dickerson's not healthy, or he's not very good anymore. I don't know what one it is. Mailata I thought was good in the run game in this one. There's just not enough. There's just not enough. Some of the stuff in the second half just got weirder. So, credit Kempski for tweeting this. The Eagles, was it four of their 5 drives in the second half? They ran the ball on first and second down. The Bills were basically calling the plays on defense. Like when there was a play when the Eagles ran counter, and I put this in the Patreon Discord this morning, and every single Bills linebacker, the second they started putting the guard, was sprinting to the left hand side. They knew what was coming. It just got worse. Like it really just got worse. Second half run game. Okay, they're not playing very well. Look at what they're running into. For those that are not watching, we'll do some quick maths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is a 9-man box because the Eagles, by choice, are creating this heavy box because by design, they're playing 3 tight ends. By design, they're playing Kylan Granson and Grant Calcaterra. If you're going to face a 9-man box, just go jumbo. Go 6-0 lineman. Why play Granson as a blocking tight end? And then Jurgens just whiffs. Even if Jurgens doesn't whiff, this play's going nowhere. They're 3-on-2 on the backside because Fred Johnson and Tyler Steen are partly double teaming, but Johnson ends up shoving Steen straight past the Mike or the linebacker anyway. So no one's blocking 45. So even if the DT doesn't get there, I'm telling you, 45 is blowing this play straight up. Even though Barkley makes them both miss, they're 3-on-2 on the backside. They got 2 tight ends on 3 Bills defenders. By the time Barkley is hit, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Bills defenders within a yard. 6 Bills defenders within a yard when he's tackled behind a line of scrimmage. You don't see that happen very often in the NFL because the run blocking and the design is not that bad. Yeah, Breaded Lips, where is Kamlatu? I don't know. Did he get injured? Have we seen anything? There was, and I'm going to come back to actually Breaded Lips because They went away from Camlartu to play, checks my notes, number 88 at fullback, being Dallas Goddard. Again, if you're watching and you want to have a laugh, watch Dallas Goddard line up at fullback and block a defensive tackle. And when I say block, I mean sort of run it at him and fall backwards. Dallas Goddard has no intention of blocking a defensive tackle as a fullback. That is insanity. He's your best tight end. He's the only one that basically catches the football. Don't get him injured for the playoffs using him to block a defensive tackle. I also want you to watch Landon Dickerson, who I described as running around like a drunk man after a night out looking for someone to fight. When they design these plays, it feels like there's such a little emphasis on who's blocking who. Where do we go in if they do this, if they do that? Like Seven's in the box here. Nickel comes into the box because the Eagles use motion. So the Nickel's there now. Technically, the Nickel was the backside linebacker in this particular play. Because the way the Bills played the Eagles motion was they didn't run with their nickel. So that's why the Eagles ran motion a lot, by the way, in this game. Because the Bills weren't running number 7 across the formation. That basically meant the nickel was getting into the run fit. As you can see here, he's basically the backside linebacker. But no one blocks him. He's not a nickel as far as we care on this play. He's the backside backer. No one blocks him. There's no interior push. A disaster. If Dallas got it, a fullback wasn't bad enough, and you want to see it twice, let's finish the offensive chat with Dallas got it, a fullback once again, who completely whiffs. The Bills have 2 linebackers on this play, 45 and 58. No one blocks 58. I think Fred Johnson might be asked to block him. For those of you watching, that is a totally impossible block for anyone to make, let alone Fred Johnson. Dallas Goedert wants nothing to do with the linebacker. So essentially, you have a run play to the outside where both off-ball linebackers run blocked. And I'll let you be the judge to tell me how that goes. Right, let's stop sharing the offense because I'm done with the offense. Let's have a look at some comments we've got here. Oh God, Kevin, why have you commented that? That's just ruined. It's made me go mad even more. Nick was just asked on a press conference why we ran into Stack's boxes, and his answer was we don't want the defense to dictate our plays. Oh man. I'm going to assume, Kevin, that you're telling the truth. Have nothing to assume you're lying to me, my friend. That is a crazy quote. Yeah, I don't get this either. Kane Irons commenting, it might be, I refuse to believe it's this much of a Christian run design is on Stoutland. I don't get it either. Like, I'm with you. It doesn't make sense to me. But even if he's not calling the plays, he's still responsible, surely, for who's blocking who, design. Is there disconnect? I don't know. And Ricky coming and saying if the Eagles don't start playing better, we're going to have some hard conversations about the offense, or the offensive line next season. I don't think it's next season, Ricky, Kevin. Sorry, I think it's. Sorry, I was a different comment, Kevin. I got yours. I think it's coming this off season. I think it's coming now. I think it's coming this week. Christ, if they don't play their starters this week and Brett Topher or whatever plays over Cam Jerkins and plays well, like, are we sure that's not a better option? I think, like, what changes the Eagles going to make? I mean, offensive coordinator I think could happen. I do still think head coach could happen if they won and done. Offensive linemen, Jurgens and Dickerson are not playing and starting unless they're significantly healthier. So, Seth Compton just tuned in. Yeah, were the second half issues conservatism, or did the Bills have a new look? No, it was conservatism. It really was. Like, we didn't run the same concept, Seth. We didn't do it. They ran a couple of under-center play action passes, but even they were safer. Extra man into block. For example, 2 receiving options rather than 3. They ran on first down and second down 4 out of the 5 drives. It was conservatism. They didn't run the more difficult plays they were running early on. Yeah, anyone got any other questions on the offense? Because if not, I think we should move on. Like, just rough. I'm I've been so positive of late about the offensive design, and I really think the last few weeks it got better. And I think the first week it was better. I really do think the first week it was better. The first half, sorry. And then they just didn't do it. My only hope is, and I mean this literally, is if they have a shootout um in the playoffs, they won't play like this. I have faith they'll be better. It's when they're winning and they think the defense is stopping the team, they just don't want to lose. And I don't understand it. I wish I could explain it. They're meant to be an aggressive coaching staff. It's happened to them before this year and they've lost games. I don't understand. I probably never will. Um, and for those simply saying, but the Eagles won, the Eagles won. Wait till we get to the defense because they were what? A Josh Allen terrible missed throwaway from losing. So we got to stop doing this results over process thing because you can't just judge it based on the overall result of the game. Right, I'm going to take a very quick drink because a lot of talking for a solo show. Final couple of questions. Kevin, praying they're holding stuff back. I think they might be holding the QB run game back, Kevin, which may make a huge difference, to be fair. Breaded lip spacing felt terrible. Yeah, second half did. Second half felt like a lot of hitches, a lot of comebacks. I didn't like it. First half, I disagree. There was more. I think it was better first half. And yeah, exactly, Predators. A play not to lose is crazy. We've seen them lose it before. It is crazy. I'm going to shut up about the offense, guys, because I'm irked. I've got to go and write about it the second I finish recording, and I can already tell it's going to be an angry, bleeding green article. So let's get into the defense. A little bit quicker on the defense every week because there's always, I feel like, a little bit less to get into. There was a couple of cool things the Eagles did this week. I think Fangio sent five a little bit more because the Bills often keep no one into block. I've got a clip of that down the end here. Um, I felt they played single high more, which is why there were more shots. I think the two go hand in hand. The single high is because they sent five more. When you send five more, you end up more in a sort of free coverage, like fire zone type stuff. Essentially cover free without an underneath defender. So little bit of a unique change, but except for that, it was just good old fashioned Eagles defense. I want to talk a little bit about Jadix Hunt because he's an incredibly interesting player. I don't think he's a very good pass rusher at all. I really don't. Go back and watch all his snaps and watch him one on one with good tackles. He doesn't win, but he's a ridiculous athlete. So in this game, he made good plays against the run. This stunt, firstly, is outstanding coverage. 5/3, 2/2. The Eagles do this for fun these days. And Jadix Hunt on the stunt, just so athletic. Dips inside, bang. Not many people hit Josh Allen like that. Not many players in the NFL. There was also a run where I think Josh Allen might score 70-yard touchdown run. Is that possible? You can be the judge on a QB draw. He's got Adoree Jackson and Quinion to beat. He probably doesn't score, but he could rumble for another 10 or 15 yards. And Jadix Hunt goes from the widest edge player to making this tackle. And then later on in the game, Josh Allen has a bizarre scramble, and it's Jadix Hunt again making the play. Like, I don't think he's a great pass rusher, and he ends up with two sacks. He's just a very, very unique athlete. I put him a tweet. I said the same about Nolan Smith last year, but Hunt's better. Not as a run defender, but he's a better athlete. He's a lot more physically impressive. So Josh Allen's running around. No one's open because, of course, they're not. It's the Eagles secondary. He could check it down, but it's third and long. And who's the athlete in the backfield that makes the play? It's Jadix Hunt. Watch Jadix Hunt rush the quarterback at the start of the rep. There he is. Nothing. Ends up on the ground. Allen escapes past him. Like, really, really funny player. So yeah, I wanted to talk about Hunt a little bit. Overall, defensively, I thought first half they were really good, really, really good. Um, they gave up three big plays, which is unlike them. So two of them were freak catches. You've all seen it live, but this was obviously the freakish catch, which I'll show you before I show the busted coverage, which is awesome because this is just quite fun. And you've got to hold your hands up and say, if this is what it takes to beat the Eagles, good luck. Josh Allen literally just panics and just launches it. There's nothing here. The, it's just an absurd catch. I think Quinion plays it well. They had another vertical one. The Epps played well on Cooks. The only busted coverage they had was this. And I did want to break down this play because I think there's something interesting about this play. Last week I commented saying if the Eagles are going to constantly line up with, it's the wrong play. If the Eagles are going to line up with Quinion Mitchell was the boundary corner, so to the larger side all the time, that if I'm the opposing team, I put a tight end on that side, I put an up tight end set, and I put three receivers on the other side. Because just watch Quinion Mitchell on this play. He is literally pointless. Tight end basically stays into block. There's nothing else on his side of the field. He is irrelevant. If I'm the offensive coordinator, I want to make Quinion Mitchell irrelevant. So what I think this play is, and I'm not sure, I was discussing with Shane, I think it is half quarter quarter, meaning half field safety, quarter quarter. Quinion doesn't drop deep because there's nothing behind him. The reason why I think it's that because Adoree Jackson stays in the flat. And I think if it was a normal quarters coverage or cover six, Adoree Jackson would go vertical. So if you figure this out at home like I am, if Adoree Jackson's not going vertical, half field, that means he has to watch the vertical, being Epps. Blankenship, the quarter, has to take the crosser, which means I'm not in the room. The way I would assume this is coached is Cuba DeJean's got to run with it. And I think he just makes a mistake and he can't catch up. I think he knows at the end he has a little bit of a panic look around and thinks, oh my God, I've got to follow him. So I can't be certain, but I think that's on DeJean. What I would say is that good, smart offenses are going to start doing this more and more and more. I think what you do is you essentially play free receivers to the field side, leave Quinion as the boundary corner if they're not going to use him to travel, and basically try and take him out of play. That is how I think teams are going to attack the Eagles. Right, I'm going to pause because I've got loads of you in the chat, which is awesome. Let's have a look at some of the comments before I get back to it. So, yeah, Kevin, we only had 7 snaps of BG. It was a bit strange, but I don't know how much BG's really there to play or how much he's there for the culture. We were gassed. The second half was rough. They've had a lot of snaps. The Eagles' offense did not help them in the slightest. Brother Clip saying Jalix has a lot of room to develop. Absolutely. It could expand. I'll just be honest. He's a former safety. I don't know how easily you can teach that in his body type. Like, I don't think he'll ever be a top pass rusher. If he does learn the technique, then look out, because he'll be one of the best defenders in the NFL because he's already a freak athlete. I think realistically, I'd be okay with 6 out of 10 pass rusher. I don't think he's going to ever get to the next level. So overall, defensively, as I said, really, really good early on. I have to just let this play run if you're watching. I find Fangio really interesting because all of you that love schematic stuff, the nerdy guys, the honest NFLs of the world, the Sean Sides of the world, Shane, Eric, myself, who post lots of like, this is cover 6, this is cover 8, this is cover 4, this is blah, blah, blah. Fangio is often known for being an unbelievable teacher. And what I mean by that is he teaches coverage very well. It's a really hard scheme to run. It's much easier to do what Jim Schwartz does. Cover one man, done. Easy. You could run out of bed and play that on Madden. The way they play match coverage is, well, you got to know what happens if it's 3x1, 2x2. What happens if it's this? What happens if it's this motion? What do you do up against this? Blah, 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 blah. If the one goes vertical, the one runs an in, what do you do? It's really tricky. But the other thing about Fangio, and I'm going to let this sequence run as I play it, is the guys just play ridiculously hard for him. And they rally to the ball and they hit hard. He's got this coaching, like, really genius level to him, like mad scientist. But he's also got this just like old school, like, we're going to hit you hard and we're going to physically dominate you. So this was awesome. First play we just watched, Marcus Epps, who I think was really good in run defense in this game, flying downhill and nearly wrecks James Cook. Next snap, they decide to shift pass protection to Jordan Davis's side. Good idea. Jalen Carter uh, buries Josh Allen. For the play after that, third and long, you could give up a short completion, rally and tackle. That's what the Eagles do. But it's only a couple of yards, and Blankenship hits hard and does the great celebration, which I enjoyed. Just like really cool to see a team play that aggressive. Um, yeah, Byron Young did make a few plays. He did spread his lips. He's been good of late, which is really cool to see. You mentioned goal line, so I've got to show Epps on the goal line and Jordan Davis. I don't know about your comment, by the way, about Carter and Davis playing at different times. I'm not sure. Again, Jalix Hunt as well on this play, really helping out, like crashing inside physically. Davis, Epps is just really good. At the moment, I wouldn't take him out of the lineup. I think that's probably my hottest take of the season if Makuba's back. I'm not one for hot takes, but I wouldn't take him out. Um, yeah, anything else I want to talk about on this is a joint thing about Shane's? I haven't got time to get my trailer full. Anything else I want to talk about? Mention Jalen Hunt, mention the physicality. Jordan Davis mentioned was excellent. Mention the single high, five rushes. Mention them getting fatigued. Marcus Epps. Feel like I've hit on the big things I wanted to talk about. Um, so before I end with a couple of defensive questions and get out of here, because it's a solo show and I've got a lot of writing to do, I wanted to show this one. I think it's really cool. Not really cool, sorry, really lucky. This is the Bills 2-point conversion. Um, they quite interestingly blitzed the Gene. Fangio's got some balls, man, and big coverages. They end up with like 4/2 because they drop out Jalix Hunt, and Campbell doesn't play this well because Campbell should know he's got inside help. Yes, he's on a receiver, but he doesn't need to. And you can see Blankenship pointing at him, saying, "You're supposed to be outside." Make no mistake, yes, Josh Allen's rolling to his left. Yes, he's under a bit of pressure. This is an easy throw. If Jalen Hurts misses that, the media's going mad. Certain people are talking about it for years. And I think Josh Allen's great. Again, for those that want to say process is not the most important thing, results are, all right, I'm not play that game. The Eagles should have lost. They should have lost the game. They were comfortable. They were wrecking the Bills' offense because that play should have been completed and the Eagles should have lost the game. Um, right, before I finish this up, we've still got a lot of good comments. I haven't got time to roll through them because I'm talking alone. So let's roll through some of them. Um, Vic's coaches under him on defense are excellent from Adam. Yeah, I think that's probably very fair. I think when you hire someone who's as experienced as him, I expect he's got some very, very, very good coaches, but also coaches to know how he works, which is really important. Breaded Clips agreeing with my take on Epps over Makuba. Yeah, I thought Bourne was really good. I almost don't talk about Bourne, which is depressing because he's so good. That it's like a bit like when Jalen Carter's good last year. Like, what do you want to do? 5 minutes on Jalen Carter being good again? But he was really good. Really good in coverage. And yeah, Quanta. If Hurts missed that throw, ESPN would kill him. Oh, good question, Brother Clips. Really good question. How dare you say game decision stuff is not my forte? No, it absolutely is not. What did I think of the Bills' decision to go for two? I'm a big fan of aggressiveness in sports. I'm a big fan of analytics in sports. Whether the analytics say go for it, I don't know. I'm also a big fan that sometimes we've gone too far in one direction, and that common sense sometimes is being lost. The Eagles were wrecked. Offensively, they were wrecked. Defensively, they were wrecked. The Bills were winning that game. I don't agree with going for two. I know you might say you missed the extra point. They had one blocked earlier. Chance of blocking two in a row, I find unlikely. I think as an offense, when you're stuck in the mud and Hurts is a rhythm QB, knowing the Eagles' offense like I do from this year, they don't get out the funks. When they're in that funk, they don't get out of it. So if I was them, I would have kicked. I would not have gone for two. Um, just my take. I think that I won in overtime. I think they had a better chance of winning in overtime than the Eagles would have. Um, but also, they should have scored. So maybe we're both right. and you can have it either way. Um, Seth saying, would I have seen some plays that Dean from Jahar Campbell played in coverage? Yes. I think Campbell's better in coverage than Dean. I don't think it's drastic at this stage, but obviously the 2 point conversion he screwed up. But I think, yeah, I think he is better in coverage. But I think you can't take away Dean's pressure. Like the ability to blitz him would be huge. Um, right, guys, thank you to chat for keeping me sane because otherwise I would have got insane. A little bit of a rushed episode, so apologies to Shane and you all, but I am away. The joys of the Christmas holidays, and I wanted to get something out for you. If you are on Patreon, if you're not, firstly, why not? $3, $5, or $7. There's a free trial up. I'm loving my preview videos. I'm genuinely enjoying them a lot. I'm learning a lot myself about doing them. Shane, because of no show this week, is going to do a longer pass game review where he touches on the offense this week. Even if you join for 1 month for the playoffs and then want to cancel, it's completely fine. But we've got a lovely community as well. The Discord is awesome. I spend the majority of my time on there rather than on Twitter. Anyway, that's it for me this week. Appreciate you guys in the chat. I guess we'll be back next week. Do we even review the Washington game? Let's see what they do. We'll also definitely be previewing the playoffs at some point. So I shall speak to you guys